Hurt people hurt people. People who've been abused abuse other people. The unique violence of white-collar crime is that the victims have no recourse, no justice. All they can do is go home and be angry at themselves, at their lives, at their families.
What often typifies the sociopath is the low subcortical arousal, so that they need constant stimulation. The fact that they tend to be very charismatic and egocentric. The fact that they don't seem to have the capacity to generate genuine empathy and truly experience what another person is feeling or going through.
It was very hard on my children. It was, you don't sleep for weeks, months.
I've seen it in victims of white-collar crime. I've seen it in those who tell the truth about white-collar crime. I've felt the helplessness and the hopelessness myself.
More and more, the world of work tends to be about social isolation, about that competitiveness, about me against you. So we're not necessarily having the social connections. We're not necessarily doing work that most of us, if we were to step outside objectively, could say, boy, I felt like I really made a significant contribution today to the well-being of my culture.
For me, this turned out to be a journey into institutionalized abuse, a journey into illness, a crash course in sickness, into the madness caused by men who build institutions, who hide behind them, who hurt others.
You get a lot of companies that are cheating out there, but it's not costing people their lives. And the problem with the investment industry, it has an impact on people's lives.
Institutionalized abuse, bullying, and crime rarely can be stopped. It's too large.
It is one of the most insidious crimes that you can commit, because the perpetrator can rationalize, ignore, and suffer gracefully because he or she has the money.
It is abuse by governments, corporations, bureaucracies.
Took it to the national director of a major brokerage, and I said, here, look at this. And he read through it, and a little smile curled across his face. And he said, oh, this is nothing new. We do this all the time.
My personal message is this: fight abuse, take a stand, do not allow it. Otherwise, no one may take a stand for you when it's your turn. I ask the question, do sick people make others sick? Is pathological greed an illness, perhaps an addiction?
What it can mean is that they're going to seek out professions where they can get that kind of constant stimulation, and where if they choose to be charismatic they can rise to the top, and where not being able to be empathic to the concerns or feelings of others, again back to your questions around the culture of work, in some respects that's rewarded.
If workaholism is an addiction, and addiction is an illness, are those at the top sometimes the sickest? Perhaps white-collar fraudsters are sick people who make other people sick. But what happens to the prey in a predatory system?
What did it cost me? Broke off a piece of one's soul, which is essentially irretrievable, and it will haunt you until your last breath.
Eckhart Tolle says identification with things creates attachment to things, obsession with things, which in turn creates our consumer society, where the only measure of progress is more. The unchecked striving for more, for endless growth, is a dysfunction and a disease. It is an addictive need, not an authentic one.
We can talk all we want about altruism and humanity and appreciating our fellow man and that we're kind and giving. Actions speak louder than words.